Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Friday follow-up in the continuing journey of accountability. Today, I want to talk about acronyms. I used to say I really don't like acronyms. And acronyms is a short version of you take the letters of a phrase or of some company, and if the letters spell out a word, you call it an acronym. It's often confused with initialism, where you just, kind of use the letters and it doesn't form a word, but you spell them out. And then there's abbreviations. Bottom line is they're used to save time. And in the advent of cell phones and texting, it's a whole new jargon of communication. Let's talk about some examples. A true acronym, radar, which is, I cannot, because I'm always using radar, but it actually means radio detection and ranging. Or scuba, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Hazmat, not using the initials, but hazardous material, hazmat. Acronyms are used all over the medical field. And that's where I think I probably got my distaste for them, because you got to be careful. You don't want to make a mistake. And if you kind of misread an acronym and you do the wrong test, it's not a good idea, but you're all familiar with them. And it's not true acronyms sometimes, because remember, it doesn't spell out a word. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. WHO, World Health Organization. See, that's a word, so that's a true acronym. BMI, body mass index. Some of these we've heard before, right? A lot of you probably heard PCR for the first time during the pandemic, polymerase chain reaction. Not to be confused with CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. You can see it turns into be an alphabet soup, but I had to use abbreviations, initialisms, and acronyms to save time, I guess, when you're writing procedures or policies and stuff. But it is a little confusing, as I said. Sometimes people don't know how to communicate because we're using all these abbreviations. LOL. So it came to mind with all the recent discussions that I wanted to focus on something that I heard a lot when I was in the medical field, was SME, subject matter experts. Hang on to that thought for a moment. When I went to CDC, oh, there's another one, Centers of Disease Control, but that's confusing too, because people just focus on CDC, Centers for Disease Control, but it also is and prevention. And that's key in the medical field. Better to prevent somebody from getting sick or a disease than to treat it after the fact. So anyway, I went down to CDC many, many years ago to learn how to work on bioterrorism agents. And I met a well-known in CDC scientist who was at the time considered an expert on anthrax, but nobody knew who she was. She was known in the building as the go-to person, but it wasn't until they had a catastrophic effect with the weapons of mass destruction that she came to the forefront, and she was the subject matter expert. What changed? She had all the information, but now all of a sudden that information was needed, and she was the subject matter expert. I'm going to say a name and people will react to it different ways, but it just proves a point. Dr. Fauci was considered a subject matter expert way back when HIV was discovered. Over the years, some might question whether or not he was a true subject matter expert coming forward. The bottom line is we're all subject matter experts because we all have opinions. And sometimes opinions not based on facts, can get folks in a little bit of trouble. Or if they want to use certain situations to prove a point. So when I say we're all subject matter experts, in TOPS, oh, wait a minute, is that an acronym? Take off pound sensibly, spells the word. Or for COPS, oh, keep off pound sensibly. That's a word, kind of spelled a little different, but let's go with it for today. So in TOPS, we're all subject matter experts on losing weight and getting healthy, and also provide support. I like to kind of flip it around, is that I think we're subject matter experts more in support than weight loss and getting healthy, because we all, again, remember, we all have our own opinions and how we want to do things. So how does this really apply with what we need to do for our day in struggle with obesity? Because back when I was in CDC many, many years ago, obesity was not considered a disease. That's right. Even though a lot of medical folks knew at the time that obesity, and you've heard this phrase during the past few years a lot, a comorbidity of diseases. If you're obese, you're more likely to have diabetes, more likely to have a stroke, cardio issues, breathing issues, and it's all tied to obesity. So now it's being recognized and treated as a disease. Matter of fact, CDC recognizes TOPS as one of the best organizations to support people, remember, to support folks on their weight loss journey to get healthy. And again, CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the prevention is the part that we really want to focus on. We want people to get healthy so they don't get diabetes or have cardio issues. So getting back to subject matter experts, we all are experts on what we need to do. We get support and we listen to other folks to help us along our way and to share this information. It's okay if you think, based on your experiences, that what you're doing is best for you, as long as you remember to support the next person because they feel the same way. And, you know, I always thought, boy, I'm going to be in the science field and it's going to be black or white, no gray area. But I found out that, you know, different scientists always will disagree on the facts that they interpret, and it's based on their experiences. And I think we tend to forget that we want to go out there and say, hey, look, I lost 20 pounds. This is what I did. You folks have got to follow it. But we don't know those persons' experiences. We don't know what kind of trauma, and that's real, folks, what kind of trauma they had in the early years of their lives dealing with obesity. Whether it's fear of being in a crowded room, that's me, always being a little bit claustrophobic, and yet feeling I was sticking out because I was obese and still battling with obesity. Never wanted to sit way inside of if at a movie theater in the middle. I always had to be on the ends, always wanted to be the outer edges of the room. And, you know, people would try, oh, come on, come down this way. No, I don't. And there's many things that we don't realize that folks have a phobia, a fear of dealing with. So when we try to insist, you've got to do this, you have to step back and say, what difference is if they make if they do it or not? How does that affect you? You need to focus on a subject matter expert yourself on what you need to work on. Share the information, put it out there, yes, but let the folks get the stuff they need and pull from it. But there is one thing that I really think we have to turn our attention to. And since we are all subject matter experts on support, weight loss, and getting a healthy lifestyle, is that we need to get out there, folks, and tell people about the most famous acronym in the world, TOPS. Yes. And I will say this in this format here. Wednesday, I took a rare day off. Actually told staff at headquarters that I had to change some meetings around on Wednesday because I was going to be out of the country. Now, a lot of them thought I was heading to Canada. And by the way, to our Canadian members, happy Canada Day. But what really was is I was off the coast of Maine, technically out of the country, but I was on an island on a clam bake, even though I don't like lobsters and clams. Go figure, a guy from Maine. But we were with friends, and we took the day off, and we went for this clam bake. Took a boat ride off the coast, went to the island, had a great time, perfect Maine weather. So as we're standing in line waiting to get served, I heard a couple behind me saying they were from Wisconsin. Yes, folks, Wisconsin. We all know how famous Wisconsin is, right? So I had my top shirt on, and I said, I work out of Milwaukee. I go there quite a bit throughout the year. And they said, oh, what do you do for work? And I put the shirt right here. I says, well, I'm president of TOPS, Take Off Pounds Sensibly. Now, these folks were from Wisconsin. So, oh, we've never heard of that. And I said, folks, you don't know how much that hurts me. I said, let's sit down. And we sat down, had a nice little chat, and I told them about TOPS and how Milwaukee was the birthplace of TOPS and Esther Mann's, and we're going to have our 75th anniversary. And of course, they said, well, when we get home, we'll Google it. I go, well, thank you. And then it just said, well, I got to thinking, we've got to do a better job of spreading the word. So what I'm asking you folks to do is, I know you're a subject matter expert when it comes to support, but we need to become subject matter experts on spreading the word of TOPS. We need to let the members know that we're back. We are back. We'll listen to the subject matter experts about viruses circulating around and stuff like that. But we know that if we're healthier, and manage that comorbidity, we'll be more apt to fight anything that comes our way. So over the next couple of months, you'll be seeing some things different. We have a new communication manager, Michelle. She's already reached out to over 50,000 members with email to get the messages out, to introduce herself and let you folks know that we're going to try to do things a little bit different to help you get the word out. Because if we don't increase our support circle, where are we going to get help? The more support we have, the better off we are. There is no such thing as too much support. There's enough negative stuff in the world that we can just put that aside, let everybody have their opinions, focus on the task at hand of supporting everybody on their journey. So again, some things will be changing. We need to make changes. I'm reminded as I kind of dig into the history of TOPS, getting ready for our 75th anniversary next year, that TOPS has changed over the years. The first couple of years, there weren't a lot of rules to follow. COPS wasn't put into place, I think 15 years after or so, and I might be wrong on that, but I got a lot of facts in my head running around and stuff like that. So yeah, things have changed over time. We have more tools available to us to spread the word. We have Facebook, and some of you have heard me say before, Facebook's a good thing. Facebook can be a bad thing. So as we go out spreading the word of TOPS, let's just remember, support is key. Everybody has their own journey. And for that journey of accountability, last night I did go to a meeting. I did not stay. I just went in for a weigh-in and I gained 1.2 pounds. And I chose not to stay. It was a long day yesterday. I just wasn't in the right frame of mind, I guess. I'll be honest with you folks, but I wanted to get that weigh-in. I could have chose just to skip. I could have chose to stay at the meeting and not weigh in. I could have done a lot of things, but I knew at that point in time, last night, all I could handle was just to go in, weigh in, say hello, everybody, and say, see you next week. So with that, I'll see you next week.